All right. So this guest is a repeat offender, or that's not very nice. She's a very nice lady. I shouldn't call her an offender. She's a repeat guest. And I want to go ahead right now and I'm going to preface. She's down here at the bottom. I'm going to preface this. I'm prepping you, Chastity Snowden. Here we go. I'm going to ask you a snack that I can eat at my house because right now I'm eating, some popcorn, lightly buttered. I've got all kinds of fruits. So I've got this craving for sweets because I've been eating so much better the last year. So I told you I was going to tell you this before I brought you up. I go buy honey buns now, with the white icing, the cake white icing. And I stand on my deck. This is embarrassing, but I live by myself. Who cares? And I will scrape the icing off of the honey bun and just eat the icing. And then throw the cake over for the birds, thinking I've saved like 80% of those carbohydrates and calories. Now, here she comes. She's going to give me an alternative for that right now. It's embarrassing I said that. 3, 2, 1. What's up, Chastity? Seriously, all my neighbors that if they live and look over, I'm like, I'm scraping the icing. And then I just throw it over and then I get that real sweet. I need help, Jazzy.
I was going to say, man, sugar is just as bad as cocaine. They're like, probably think you're doing drugs back there.
I'm telling you. It is. I need something. I'm eating all kinds of berries and bananas and apples, but damn it, it's not the same.
They're just not getting it. You're not getting the rush.
Sorry. You broke up on me a little bit there. I'm sorry, but
I said you're not getting the rush from that sugar from those berries.
No, nothing. Yeah, the blackberry and the whatever it is, the honey bun. That honey bun, I put them in the chiller so they're cold and that icing is crisp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I actually sound like an addict right now. Like I'm about to go do. I got a friend of mine with a coat. Hey, you need some honey buns? They're right here. All right, do me a quick favor. First of all, let's see. She should check out GoRuck, the HTL, or Chatting a GoRuck Basic. May be harder than CrossFit. Oh, I know Mike. He does some pretty hard workouts.
I was going to say that sounds hard.
Hey, do me a favor. First of all, answer my question. Do you have a sweet snack? And then second, tell everybody who you are and the company you own, and we'll jump into it.
Snacks. I actually have started doing coconut, that you're going to be like, this isn't good, but coconut yogurt with granola and berries and then coconut whip on top of it. The whip is super sweet, so it makes it more sweet. And then also the yogurt is actually pretty sweet as well. Or you can do regular yogurt, but it makes it nice and creamy, and it's Siggy's yogurt is really good. And then another thing you can do is I do mug cakes too, which are protein shakes, and make them into cakes and then put whipped topping on them. And those are good too. They're definitely not like honey buns, but
no, I'll just be honest. Here's what you've done for me, ma'am. You've put too much work into it.
Yeah.
I need something I can walk in, grab, and just directly into my main line, into my body. So it's
okay. So go buy a tub of icing and get a spoon.
Yes.
There you go.
That's it. That's why you're my coach.
That's easier than a honey bun.
It is
just
easier.
Make sure you set the icing on the scale so that when you spoon it out, you know exactly how much you're eating. And then you just log it and you're good.
There you go. That's why everybody it gets success from you, is because it's not what you eat, it's logging it and fitting it into your plan, which we're going to talk about. So Mike's asked a good question. Have you ever been out of shape? How'd you get back in shape? We're going to address that. But first, tell everybody what you do for a living, and then we're going to start, so everybody's watching or listening, we're going to start with your CrossFit experience, and we're going to move up to what you do now.
I am Chastity Snowden. I'm the owner of FLA Movement, which is a nutrition coaching company. So I've been in the fitness industry for a really long time, but I've owned the company for a couple years now. And so I've been out of shape, really out of shape, Mike, very out of shape.
Well, and this will be a good jumping off point. So when we say out of shape, a lot of times people think of being big, right? I've been 50 pounds overweight. That's true. But also being out of shape, you've battled bulimia and anorexia. That's out of shape too.
Yes, mentally out of shape, physically out of shape. Also, I always say they thought I had Crohn's disease because I don't claim it.
Right.
They
Yeah.
thought it. And they gave me medication, and I had a lot of digestive disorders. And bulimia doesn't help that, by the way. You might not want to do
Go
that
down that
either.
road.
Yeah, that's
Do
a
not
hard one.
self-treat. Yeah.
Yes, that's a hard one. But yes, I was 175 pounds. I'm 5'3", and it was not muscle at in my early 20s. And then I did bikini competitions in my late 20s at about 103 pounds, and then went to CrossFit Games in my 30s.
And that's a good point. Mike said mental battle. Love the mental battle. Absolutely. And that's when we start unraveling your story a little bit, because it's been, and I told you this, me and you have talked about this story for several times, but it's been a couple of years.
Yes.
And I think it's got some good elements in it. The mental component is what you really help people with now, that accountability and the mental place. But we're going to pin it right now with the CrossFit Games.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a couple questions I don't think I've ever asked you about the CrossFit Games.
Okay.
What year did you go to CrossFit?
When I started?
Yeah, well, yeah. When did you start, and what year did you go to the games?
I walked into a gym in 2014 and didn't know what CrossFit was, and I went to the games in 2018.
When did you? That seems like a pretty fast rise there. So when did you realize that you were going to try to go to the game? When did somebody come to you and go, "You've got potential to go to the next level"?
Nobody ever really did.
When did you think
I
that?
told them. I started with my coach. I hired a coach 9 months in. And then I went to regionals in 2015 on a team. And then I went to regionals in 16 individually. So that is a lot harder. I was top, I think I was 7th in the Southeast. And that is in like one of the hardest divisions in the United States or in the world, really. And I was competing against like 19-year-olds or 20-year-olds, and I was in my 30s. And then in 2017, I went to regionals again on a team with a group of people. And then 2018, I competed as a masters athlete. So I had to compete against every single person in the world in the 35 to 40-year-old age group and get through and be top 200. And then I was top 20 and do another competition. And then I ended up going to the games being top 20.
Okay. When you get to the game, where were the games held?
Wisconsin. Madison, Wisconsin. Yeah.
Okay. So when you go to the games, they give you everything you're supposed to wear. These are logistical things, right? Do they give you everything you're supposed to wear?
Yes, we're legally not allowed to wear any of our shoes that we trained in or any of our clothes or any of our gear.
Was that and not from a aesthetics point of view, but from a training point of view, was that hard? Was that a mental thing? Because I know athletes are creatures of habits. You have your favorite shorts, you have your favorite t-shirt. I know how this works. Was it hard?
Yeah, it was hard because you're just comfortable in what you're used to training in.
Right.
And when you're not comfortable, it's hard to not, you're running around and doing things and you notice everybody staring at you anyway, but you're just not comfortable when you're moving. So
Yeah. How much time did you have between events? Because I watch it on TV and sometimes I don't know, is it one event a day? Is it 6 events a day? Is there an hour in between? Do some events, because they take more out of you, do they give you longer? How does that work?
It's usually 2 or 3 depending on the day. Usually it's 3. And it depends on what the events are. So usually it's a couple hours. So it's enough time to go relax afterwards, usually refuel, get some food in you, or take a shake or something, get some baby food in you, and then go back and do something else.
When I was doing my heavy lifting, I used to eat baby food all the time. Literally,
Yeah.
people thought, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Listen, you can get really healthy, good protein food at Waffle House, and you can get it from baby food." I used to eat it constantly.
Baby food and jelly beans, what I usually lived on in between.
Was there an event, and then we're going to get into the mental component and slowly transition out of the CrossFit Games. Was there an event that you excelled at and you loved, one or two, and there's one or two that you looked at and you go, well, that was embarrassing and sucked?
I really enjoyed the obstacle course event, which is not, I wasn't good at it at all. It was just fun because I got to climb up this crazy thing that was like a Spartan race kind of thing, like climb
Uh-huh.
a ladder, but it was like, I don't know, like a grid, and it was really, really high. And then I had to throw my body over it and then basically fall to my death. It was really
Wow.
scary. And then swing on a rope to something. But the reason it was cool is because when I first started CrossFit, there was this one girl, her name's Sam Briggs, that I saw in magazines, and she was in my division. And I was just really excited to run across the finish line and see her. She was done, but I got to see her as I ran across the finish line. It was like the first event that we did. And I
Right.
ran across the finish line and realized I got here, and she was one of those people that I dreamed about becoming. And so it was just I just like burst into tears because I realized I had made it. So that one was the best like feeling. The other event that I loved was a snatch event because I beat her and I snatched 165 pounds in a workout a couple times, which was really exciting.
Yeah.
And she can't lift very heavy, so that was really exciting for me. And then the swim event was really exciting as well because I trained for a really long time to get good at swimming, and we took off with the men standing beside us. And it's in open water, and it's basically like a triathlon kind of feel. So you take off and the men are grabbing you and the women are grabbing you and they're pulling you under, and basically you have to punch each other and like go over top each other.
That's your world. You like that. Your dad came out a little bit in you on that.
Yeah, so I realized how aggressive I was, and it was great. I didn't finish top 10 in the middle, but I finished really well, and I was really excited that I did well and I didn't freak out, and I was excited that all of my training took me to a great place and I had fun. So
Yeah.
that was the other thing. I enjoyed it, which was really cool.
You know, a lot of us who watch CrossFit but aren't active in it, I watch it because I love to watch the competition and the athletes. I don't realize swimming was part of it.
Hmm.
You know, I would never have thought that. Yeah.
Yeah, they make you do all kinds of stuff at the games. It's hard to do at a regular competition, but at the higher level competitions, they'll make you swim or do all kinds of crazy stuff, paddleboard or anything like that.
Did you and what's her name? Samantha? Was that her name? Did
Sam,
you and
yeah.
her ever talk and become friends or anything, or was it just one of
Yeah,
those?
I knew her she's from London or England. So I knew her because she trained in Miami. Um, so I knew who she was. It wasn't, I mean, we don't really hang out, but she's the type of person like we would finish our workouts and then she would do another workout while we waited. And I would be like, I'm gonna go rest and get ready for the next one.
Not
But
hanging out with you.
that's who she is.
Yeah.
So she's just on a different level.
Let me answer a couple of quick questions here, and then I want to talk about the dressing room event at the CrossFit Games, and then that'll be a nice transition out of that. So Mike asked, any ruck events in the games? He saw one a while back. He said, and a lot of CrossFitters hated that.
By ruck events, you mean that is like
I think you put the
wearing
ruck
stuff?
on, yeah, and you run or walk and do time. I don't know about, but I think that's what the ruck is he's talking about.
We had to, do we have to put a vest on? No, we didn't have to wear a vest. We just ran. We didn't have to run in a vest. No, I've done vest and then sandbag runs in other events. Wadapalooza. I did Wadapalooza every year.
What is Wadapalooza? Is that workout of the day? What is that?
No, Wadapalooza is the biggest event in Miami that it just happened this past weekend. So it happens every year and people come from all over the world to that event. It's just
Okay.
held in Miami. And it's hard to get in. You basically have to do all these tests to get in and enter that one, but I did that one 100 times. But ruck events are great for me because I run just as fast with a vest on as I do without the vest.
Which is
Same speed.
great and not great.
I know. It's great. Give me the vest because everybody else is super slow.
Yeah.
They're going to be slower and I'm going to be the same speed.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to clock her without the vest. Go. That's not right. It's the same. How does that possible?
No,
That's not...
in other words, I'm not a very good runner.
Yeah. And then we've got this comment right here by somebody you know, Pat Snowden. Hey, say, yeah, I was there. So very proud of Chase. So there you go.
Yeah, mom was there.
That's your mom. And by the way, you had recommended that I get your mom on. and
Yeah,
talk to
she's
her about some
amazing.
stuff too. I've had your
She's
dad
amazing.
on. So
Yeah, they're amazing people. It's
yeah.
incredible the things they've done in their life. And mom's local to you, so she could come
Yeah.
on.
And so we'll talk about that a little later too. That would be great. So, all right, Chad. So you're in the dressing room,
Mhm.
and I want to try to take everybody from the CrossFit Games. You're competing at this high level. You've kind of arrived at what most people would think is the pinnacle of what you're doing, right? I'm at the World CrossFit Games,
Mhm.
and you're in these clothes that they provide you. And tell everybody what's going through your mind because it's critical on why you are where you're at now.
Yeah, so one of the most exciting things about the games is they give you all of your clothing. That is your like your gear for the whole weekend. You have your numbers on it, your names on it. You get to keep all of it. It's a bunch of shorts, pants, shirts, a jacket that's white that has like the flag on it. It's like the Olympics when we walk out for opening ceremonies. Like we got so much stuff, shoes and all kinds of gear. And I walk in and I'm trying all these clothes on and I just burst into tears because I don't like the way I look inside the clothes. They're uncomfortable, they don't feel right. I feel fat and basically hate the way I look. And I've worked for 5 years to get to this point. I'm as fit as I've ever been in my life. I'm as strong as I've ever been. And it makes me choke up to even go back to that position. But at that point, I was like, I never want to feel this way again, ever, ever. And I won't. And I'm going to fight this mental battle and I'm going to figure out how to, because this is the problem. I was 103 pounds on a bikini stage 10 years before that, shredded out of my mind, feeling the same way. And
That's
now
it.
I'm at the top of a performance sport 8 years, 9 years later, and I've at the pinnacle of being at the CrossFit Games, and I still feel the same way. It's not about what I look like in the mirror. It's what's going on inside my head.
Yeah, and the reason the reason I wanted to revisit that story is because sometimes when we see I see Chastity Snowden, or you see one of your coaches, and you watch them going through this transformation. Sometimes when we just see the pictures, it's easy to think, well, it's easy for them to be happy and comfortable. They don't know what it's like, and in reality, humans are humans are humans.
Mm-hmm.
And feeling uncomfortable in your skin, whether you're 103, 175, or 150, that's a you thing. That's a mental thing. And so you can relate to all the people you talk to today, no matter how you look now and how they look now, right?
Absolutely. And that's what I've realized. Like in my early 20s, I was 175 pounds, 103 on stage shredded, and then 150 at the games. Completely different aspects in every single area, but I was beating myself up on the inside. It was all mental. And I'm in a completely different place now. And now I weigh 132, 131, something like that. Completely, like 2 or 3 years later. Completely different body frame, but I'm a completely different mentally.
Well, and let's talk about that. You leave the dressing room, you finish the games, you chalk that up to good memories. Is it right after the games you realized you wanted to be a coach, or did you have to go do on a little self-discovering journey? When did you know I want to own or become a coach?
I was a coach before that.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
I was already coaching. Um, I just didn't, I had been coaching people for a while. I just didn't have my own business yet.
Maybe that's so when did you
Yeah.
realize you wanted to split off?
2019.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, so 2018 in the summer is when the CrossFit Games were. And the beginning of 2019 is when I basically created my own business in the early 2019. So it was a few months later.
Is the business at where you thought it would be? In other words, I've always talked to business owners, and when you talk to them, there's three stages. Before they start, they have this, what it wants to be. When they start, what it really is. And then like a year or two later, what it has become. Is it where you thought it would be? Better, worse, harder, easier? Or yes?
Yes. Yes. It's it's so interesting. I was actually talking to my boyfriend about this and I was like, I'm baffled at how I have everything I've ever dreamed of. Like except I'm really good at creating it. Like I dream of the CrossFit Games and I just made it happen. Like I dream of things and then I'm just a driven person. So I dream of it and then I create it. That's what I teach my clients. Whenever you make a decision and you want something, then just reverse engineer it, create it, and go after it. Doesn't matter what it is. We'll figure it out. But there's so much more I want, so it's hard for me to be like, yeah, it's great, but I can't even. What we have created in such a short period of time is pretty incredible. But it's not even about like the numbers of clients or the financial gain of FLA movement. It's more about the community that we've created and the ability to have like the before and after, and then the after pictures, and the mindset shift of people. Like people are just, they just change. They don't just have a before and after picture. They're becoming different people, which is
Right.
incredible.
Well, so when you start your business though, and you may have already known this, but usually, I'll give you a great example. If you've been a sales rep inside of a company and then you go and start your own business inside the same industry, you will have success a lot of times selling your business. But behind the scenes, the running the business can be a challenge because you don't know how the widgets are made until you're the one that's responsible. Was that part challenging? I mean, finding your platforms and your pay systems and how to block time, was that all challenging?
Yes, very challenging.
Did you like that process or did it suck? And are you glad it's over? Or
It's
is it
still,
over?
it's not over because I constantly have, I always want to become better and have new ways, and I find things that need to be better, so I tweak them and make them better. But yeah, it sucks. Luckily, I'm really into investing in coaching, so I've never been the type of person to be like, I want to figure it out. I will always ask for directions. I'm like, that person figured it out. They're smart. I'm gonna go ask them and be coached.
Is that
Like that's why I got a coach in CrossFit 9 months in. I'm like, he figured it out. Coach me, tell me, fix me, make me go to the games.
that's such sometimes that is, I think it's really odd to hear you say that because it sounds like some of the mental games you've played with yourself come from a place like we all have, which can be insecurities, right? But in order to ask for help, you've got to be a pretty secure person. I have found a lot of people with egos. I've already figured it. I don't need any help. I'm good at one thing, so I'm good at all things. That's a really healthy habit to have, of being able to go, tell me all the stuff I'm not supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I somehow, I think it's just because I know I don't know what I'm doing with this. So I'm, instead of being like, I'm going to figure it out and act like I don't and act like I know what I'm doing, I'm going to be like, I'm going to find an answer so I know what I'm doing. And I know he has the answer because he runs an amazing business and he's a business coach. So I went and paid one. They taught me. Now I have all the answers. Now I can implement and I can take care of people. I already know the nutrition coaching part. I gotta get the back end. All right, we got that settled. Cool. Now I need the tech part. Okay, because I hate that part. I'm like, I'm really good at helping you, but hold on. Let me get on this computer thing.
It takes me 15 minutes to log in, but once I get there, by golly, I will help you. You have no idea.
I'm like, I can help you anywhere in the world if I can connect with you. Hold on a minute.
My phone's dialing you right now. What? Yeah, your phone. What is it?
Yeah.
AOL? What are we doing over here? Well, so is the mental part for you still a struggle? Is that something you have to practice every day, fighting how you see yourself? Is that something you still deal with?
Yes, because my mode of coping was taken away. So I used to sedate my emotions with food.
Oh, okay.
So I would deal with it by bulimia, and then that was taken away. And then I would deal with it with working out, and then I got chronic migraines, so that was taken away. And then I just had to find new ways of like, cope with yourself and literally figure out what's going on with your head. Stop sedating what you're doing. I don't drink. Can't drink when you have migraines, so couldn't go become an alcoholic. Shoot, running a business, can't go spend all my money when I'm stressed.
Honey buns.
Honey buns. I could go lick a honey bun and throw it off the I don't have a back porch. I can give
No.
it to the dog.
Yeah. I'm going to start a podcast, Lick the Honey Bun. I think you just named it. It'll be in my nutritional coaching. Stay tuned, everybody. So you still deal with this battle again with yourself. So it's got to be challenging.
Yeah. I mean, it's I honestly think if I didn't, then I wouldn't be a good coach. There's still an underlying like body dysmorphia. Some days I wake up and I'm like, I'm fat. And then I'm like, wait a second, hold on, get back into the conscious. You weren't fat yesterday. Remember what the data says. You might feel fat, but you're not fat. Let's go back to your affirmations. Wake up, get yourself in a good place, feed your head with positive, go back to your habits. But I don't sedate myself. Just because I have a feeling doesn't mean I act on the feeling, which is different.
It's hard to fight your feelings. Sometimes we just get so comfortable affirming what we feel without challenging it and evaluating it and go, sometimes my feelings are valid. And then sometimes they're just bullshit. Pardon my language.
Sometimes they're nasty little jerks. They're just there from when I was 3, or somebody that was a jerk when I was 10 that told me I was fat, or it's not me.
Yeah. So you said you can't, are you working out now? Have you modified your workouts, or have you because you said you can't do the weightlifting, but what do you do now because of migraines?
I'm a lot better than I was. I use the head thing that's helping.
Okay.
Basically.
Wait, we got to ask about that. But Lisa Petty over here said, love
it, Chas.
Love it. Chas, there you go. I can't read because I've got these glasses and there's a glare on my computer now, dadgummit, and I'm having to get over here to read. Okay, that's an old man moment. All right, but I've seen you post stuff and you look like you've got your like some sort of yoga third eye right here.
I know, I'm like a cyborg.
What does it do?
It's like like an e-stim. So it it actually shocks the transgeminal, I think so it's called, nerve. But it's like an electrode that like literally like does this for like 14 minutes every day. It hurts at first. Doesn't feel good.
Is it working?
Yeah. I've only been using it for about, I think 2 weeks or so, but I use it every single day. I mean, I'm incredibly disciplined. So when I decide to do something, I do it. So every single day I use it. And then if I feel a migraine coming on, you can use it for an entire hour. But sometimes I'll just I'm like, okay. And also I don't have a job where I work like 9 to 5. So if I feel something coming on, I stop immediately and I go treat it. So I'm getting really good at trying to not have migraines because I was having them every day, and I'm learning to settle down.
Yeah. Well, you said you're really disciplined, and then we're going to talk about your perfect client. I'm surprised because I've worked with you a little bit at your patience with people, because I know a lot of people who are disciplined, but a lot of times people who are very disciplined have a hard time tolerating people who are not. In other words, hey, so we're going to get up every morning at 6 and we're going to have 15 minutes of quiet time, drink your 10 ounces of water. We're going to work out and stretch from 6:15 to 6:45. We're going to do some, and then at 6:45 we'll do, and if you don't, they'll just go, well, we'll just get up at 6. And a lot of people are like, well, I can't get up at 6. What do you mean you can't get up at 6? They get very judgmental. You don't get that way. Is that hard for you not to be that way though?
You have to remember that I used to be where they are.
Yeah.
So I've learned that in order to develop a habit, I have to find a way to help them develop the habit.
And being judgmental is not a really good way.
Really good way.
Let me write that down.
I can't really judge them on the fact that I used to be them. And if they're triggering me, I've just found that the only reason they're triggering me or me becoming judgmental or frustrated is typically because I used to be just like them.
Do you have times of day that you've got more that you're better, you're in your peak of coaching or feeling good? Have you, because one of the things I try to tell people, because I do some sales coaching and small business coaching, and I talk about habits outside of work, because I'm a big believer, you just don't go to work and become an amazing person. Usually your work and your relationships outflow of the invisible places in your brain. It's just downstream. But I try to tell people, track your time every week for a couple of weeks and figure out when you feel the best. What you'll find is my time and your time, we may get the same amount done every day, but you may kill it from 9 to noon, and I may kill it from 4 to 7. But a lot of times we try to squeeze what everybody expects us to do, and we just don't operate at optimal levels. Does that make sense at all?
Totally makes sense. I'm the same. Yeah, like, and honestly, that's why I've negotiated my schedule to where I'll work for a certain amount of hours, and then I literally am like, peace out, and I go and I'm like, I lay down. I'm like, gonna go watch a Netflix show, but I might be working at 9:30 at night. And
Was
then
that
I'm
hard
up
to
at
was that hard
5:30.
to was that hard for you to get used to though? When you were taking off, when you think other people think you should be working, was that hard for you?
Yes, it's very
Yeah.
hard. It's hard for me not necessarily to take off because other people think I should be working. It's hard for me just to period take off, like ever. Because I think I should work. My dad taught me that we work half a day. That means 12 hours.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. My dad and your dad are friends. They're from the same cloth, the same generation. Just,
Yeah.
that whole generation, just nothing but badasses walking around. And, I've,
Wake up, go to breakfast. Dad's like, you haven't worked out yet? I'm like, it's 6 a.m. And he's like, I've already had a pot of coffee and had my workout and punched the bag.
yeah.
And I'm like,
I remember
I'm
on
going
Saturday.
to the gym.
Yeah, on Saturdays, my dad would be leaving for work on Saturdays because he worked 6 days a week. It'd be like 6:30, and he would wake me up and say, "Do you have anything to do?" The worst thing you could tell my dad was, "No, I got nothing to do today. I'm gonna hang out with my friends." He said, "Oh, you got stuff to do today. I'll put it on the kitchen counter for you." I'm like, "I got stuff to do. I was just kidding, Dad. I was just kidding."
Oh, my dad. Yeah, my dad. If I wasn't up on Saturday, they'd be vacuuming at 7 a.m.
Oh
in my
yeah.
bedroom. I'm like, what is like sleeping late doesn't exist. No. Late is 7:30.
I was going to say, hey, 8 o'clock. If something wasn't moving in my house by 8 o'clock on a Saturday, we're checking people for temperatures. Are you sick?
Oh,
But
it's good. I mean, I wake up now and it's not a big deal. I don't hit snooze. I mean, it trained me to be very disciplined. I don't have an off switch, but I'm learning that. It's a new thing I'm learning.
Lisa said my dad too, 6 days a week. Yeah, I think it's a different generation. And but here's the thing. I love what you said, and then we're going to talk about your coaching practice now. Learning to work, which is best for you, your schedule, if you have that freedom, doesn't mean you're not working hard. It just means you're working more efficiently, and it could be you're putting your 12 hours in. It's just your 12 hours, not someone else's 12 hours.
I mean, to me, I just want to be an effective coach and effective and efficient. And it doesn't make sense for me to work when I feel like trash and have a headache. And
people are paying you, and people are paying you. So you want to be at your best.
Yeah, I want to show up and feel good. And if I can't hear what you're saying, I really can't give you very good advice.
Just my head hurts. Just don't eat honey buns. Don't be Clint, for the love of God.
Do not be Clint.
Hey, so let's talk about this. How many coaches and our nutrition? How many people are on your team now, or that you work with on the staff?
We have 3 coaches. I'm onboarding another one right now, and then we have 1 dietitian on staff.
Okay, I get first names for the coaches, please, ma'am, yes. And the dietitian.
Brittany, Emma, and Zeus are our coaches. Amanda is the dietitian, and Grace is onboarding right now.
Where's Grace located out of? What part of the world?
Oklahoma.
Okay, so you have them in Oklahoma. Your coaches are in Oklahoma. Where are your coaches located at? What part of the world?
Wisconsin, which I'm going there next weekend. Texas, I'm going there in February. And Amanda's in Boston. And then Zeus is in Slovakia.
I've had her on the podcast. I've had all your coaches on, I think, except for your new one.
Yeah.
I haven't had
You'll
her
get to meet her. She's great.
Yeah. That'll be cool. All right. So you feel like that's not how I meant it at all. Yeah. There you go. Thank you for doing that. My shoulders would pop if I did that too loud, and it would be. So tell people, who's a good client for you right now, and kind of paint the picture. If somebody's watching or listening and they go, you know what does coaching do? What does it look like when they come on board? And then who is a good fit?
Literally anybody that is interested in losing weight, changing their health, or wanting to change their performance. So we can literally help anybody with their nutrition, but most of our clients are within 35 to probably 60 years of age. Busy typically. running around, high energy, don't have time, and they forgot to most of my clients, they just forgot to put themselves first. They were like, I'm going to take care of my husband or my wife, my kids, my job, all the other things. Crap. I have no energy. I feel like crap. I'm running around. I haven't eaten, and now I need to lose weight. And somehow I got to go to the gym too. What the crap? How am I supposed to do this? And I feel like crap, or diabetes just popped, or my doctor told me to get my sugar down, or I need to get my cholesterol down. I ain't got time for that. I got to go to work. I got to take care of my kids. Like those people, because we have the ability to slowly implement things into their life. And that's the key. One, we teach you how to eat whatever you want, crazy life, whatever you want, while you're going through your crazy life, while you're getting results. We teach you how to eat the foods that you love while getting results. But we also do that with training. So we teach you how to train however you want while getting results. And then we recalibrate your mindset in the process as well. So if that sounds like you, if your life is crazy, come hang out with us, because that's how we are.
Well, and I'm going to ask you a couple of quick questions off that, but listening to you talk about who the perfect client is, you and I were having a conversation before we came on how mine, it can be a marriage, it can be your kids going off to school, it can be you've had a job, you've lost your job, maybe it's COVID, you've had loss in your life. But these little things happen along the way. And I compared it to Thanos in the movie, the Avengers movie, where he snapped his finger, and then you see people slowly just disintegrate. They fade, right? Into nothingness. And I think sometimes as we get older and we start picking up these responsibilities and we lay a little bit of ourselves down every time we pick up something, I lay a little bit of me down. And we look in the mirror 5 years, 6 months, 10 years later, and we don't see us anymore. I am a dad. I'm a husband. I'm a wife. I'm a friend. I'm an employee. I'm a business owner. I'm everything. But where did I go? And it's this mind shift that it's not about the water, and it's not about the cupcakes, and it's not about your schedule. It's about, when do I try to dust that person off? It doesn't mean I get rid of those. It means I want to be better at those things. When do I start saying, I got 30 minutes? Because right now we live in a society where I call you and go, hey, Chastity, I need you to fix me. I don't want any skin in the game. Give me the magic button because I'm busy. I need to do this now. Right?
Yes.
Sorry, I preached a little bit. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say that's exactly what it is. And we figure out a way to implement what we need to implement within your crazy schedule. But that is one of the mindset shifts, is really most people, they have faded away, and it's like their face changes, not because they lose weight. That's part of the problem. I mean, part of the success, but it's also because, like you said, they've just disappeared into, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, and where am I?
Yeah.
And they don't have a lot of times I ask their goal and they can't even tell me what it is, because they haven't done anything for themselves in so long.
Yeah. Have you ever siphoned? I mean, I'm old and, Southern. So I asked, have you ever siphoned gas out of a car?
No.
Yeah, well, I have. And I'll tell you, if the tank gets empty, you can't siphon any more gas out of it. Yeah. And what happens is we run around in life, and we want our kids to pull off we want to pour into other people, but eventually the tank gets empty.
Yeah.
And so that's where you're eating the donuts I've been down there, where you're eating the donuts at 11:30 because I'm hungry and I'm tired. They're sitting here. It's easy. I'm a little sad. I got to do this stuff again tomorrow. And
and I don't want to anymore. And that's one of the things they find is they feel like they're being selfish at first by giving back to themselves and showing up for themselves and doing something for themselves. And then all of a sudden, they're such a better person for their wife, their kids, their family, their job. They make more money. Everything in their life starts getting better.
You know what would be funny about, not funny, but I think you've heard these stories more than I have. I've heard a little bit on the coaching and business side, but when someone finally gets it, you'll actually have people tell you how much they've missed you. They'll be like, I'm so glad to see you doing this. I've worried about you, or I've tried to help, or I've wondered what happened to you, or this is the old you I remember a little bit, a newer version, right?
Yeah. Man, I've missed you. Where have you been? Well, I was hidden. I disappeared
Yeah, for a while, for a
for a
minute.
long time. I was taking care of all these other people.
Hey, do you help athletes too with their diets? If somebody's an athlete and they want to, is that something you guys can help them with?
Yeah, yeah, we do that a lot.
Okay. And
A
you still
lot
have
of
it?
a lot of
Go ahead.
CrossFit athletes. We have Zeus helps a couple of fighters, and Zeus herself is a Olympic lifter. So we get her ready for her Olympic lifting meets and stuff. So we do weight cuts and stuff with her.
I didn't know I knew she, I mean, I've had her on the podcast several times. I didn't know she helped fighters. That intrigues me a little bit. Well, good. We'll have her on the podcast and talk about that.
Yeah.
All right. Last question for you. 2022, everybody starts these New Year's resolutions. Are there things that you're wanting to get better at this year? Are there certain habits that you put in place?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or
Did I cut out?
no, you're here. You're
Okay.
good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. Most people are trying to like work out more, go hard, drink more water, get better at food, all that stuff. I'm like the opposite. I want to like slow down more, learn to relax more, because I'm really good at going hard. And my struggle is I'm kind of like that person that goes to the yoga class and they're like, type A in the back, settle down. You don't need to do yoga fast. You need to slow it down, take a deep breath. Like I'll find myself not breathing in the middle of the day. I just hold my breath. So I'm trying to implement like yoga a couple times a week and get really good at stretching and get pain free. And so that's what I'm going for body wise. And then also I'm trying to lose more body weight and shred up, of course. That's some different things I'm trying to do.
Well, especially before your big excursion down there that you have coming up every year, right? You got your
Yeah.
Florida getaway. Yeah, everybody comes to Florida, right?
Yes. Everybody comes to Florida in April.
April. Tell people about that a little bit if you want, but in order to do that, you have to be part of the FLA movement, right?
Yeah, we have an excursion April 8th through 10th. And then the next one's in October. This one's in Deerfield, and we have seminars where I speak and the other tribe leaders speak. And basically, we just have a really good time. We hang out on the beach, we do some different activities and get to know each other. Mostly, it's about mindset shifting and setting your goals for the next 6 months. And yeah, it's a fun time. And then the challenge that I'm hosting right now, the winner gets to have part of or the second place winner gets to have part of their flight paid for.
All right. Tell everybody they've listened to this. They may be an athlete. They may be somebody else that just says, I want to find out more of what coaching looks like. How do they find out about you? And do they pick a coach or do you assign them a coach?
I assign them a coach unless they request it. But usually what I do is a preliminary call where I get to know them, and then I let them know what my recommendation is. If they call me and say, hey, I want to work with this coach, then obviously I would talk to them and then see if I think that's a good idea. But yeah.
How do they find you? How do they get establish that first phone call, ma'am?
www.flamovement.com. You can actually schedule a phone call directly with me, or my Instagram, Chastity.FLA.movement. Both of those have my scheduler, and you can book an appointment directly with me.
Well, everybody thinks FLA is for Florida, but it's for Fearlessly Authentic, right?
Yes.
Tell everybody the quote. We'll end it with this quote. Why is the word authentic so important to you, and how's it changed your life? And then we'll end it with that.
Oh, goodness. The most powerful person in the room has nothing to hide.
There you go. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Let's talk offline about getting your other coaches on. I would love to do that.
Absolutely.
Go check her out, everybody. Thank you for coming on. Bye.
Bye.